All right.
You going to give her a cue?
Anytime.
Whether it makes you laugh, cry, scream, or fly, there's a song for every emotion. Hi, I'm Dana, and today I'm joining Mike and Priya to talk about the songs that make up the soundtrack to your life, because life is in the lyrics.
Woohoo! We are indeed Mike and Priya here at Priya's vacation home, and we are really enjoying recording as we day drink. What time is it? It's 4:23.
That's true. I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere though, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. We are also delighted to be joined, as you may have guessed, by a special guest.
Oh, that rhymes, and I love it.
Yeah. I did that on purpose.
And she's here to help us get through the genre of opera.
Ooh.
Hello, Dana.
Hi, both of you.
Hi.
Welcome to our little podcast.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here. I love that.
Welcome. This is the second episode that we have recorded here on what we're calling our road trip.
We on road trip.
We on a road trip, and apparently we drink. We day drink and we drink.
Yeah,
And we get high.
And then the
Gets
hot
high.
tub.
And then
Yeah.
the hot tub, which we did not do.
Actually, we didn't.
Nobody brought their bathing suit except for me. So I will be going into the hot tub solo after
Oh, you
this.
didn't bring your bathing suit
I
either.
forgot.
Yeah,
I might
so did
still
I.
go in some way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna be so wasted after. We're not even remember that we're going in naked.
But it'll be interesting if this episode comes out before or after the episode we recorded yesterday, because yesterday it was a mess.
It was a bit of a mess
It
because
was a margarita mess.
It was a margarita mess, and then what happened after?
Oh God!
podcast,
yeah. After the podcast, Priya realized. Well, actually, we both kind of realized that we could do karaoke
Into these microphones.
and Priya got so excited that she changed the mic stand so that it was 1 minute I looked over and she was sitting in front of the mic. The next minute I look over and she's standing. And she has got all of the moves and she hands reaching and she's doing it was.
But also, episode 30, 31, and that's when you realized you could sing in these mics? It took that.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's true, right? Because every time we are recording at Mike's place, we are seated and we're kind of, we don't really move.
No.
So it was after we finished recording yesterday that we were like, okay, we're done. What do we do now?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a second, we still have these fabulous microphones. We just have to lift them up and stand and pretend like we're in the recording studio.
Yeah. So Dana,
Yes.
because you are our opera specialist, we're expecting some opera serenading.
Oh, I just want to be clear.
Right.
I'm an opera specialist as an opera director, not a singer.
Oh,
you do not want to hear me sing.
Well, you just we'll get that one going. We're also going to make sure that your wine glass stays full because
almost done.
Oh, it's
Who
already
knows?
empty. It's already empty. One of us got to fix that. So why don't I fix that?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. So we've got. So Dana, you are not going to be singing for us, which is going to be.
That is a disappointment. I feel like this is the end of this episode.
The wine is flowing, so.
Oh wow! So
little listeners, you just don't know.
Maybe one of us is going to have to pipe in there with a little bit of a.
Valkyrie, I think so. Ride of the Valkyries, Priya. I think you might need to sing that.
I mean, is there any? I only know the sound, the melody. I don't know any of the words.
Well, they just kind of go yo type thing.
Oh.
They go what?
Oh.
Yeah, like they just kind of say.
I was trying to trick her into. What was that? How does it go?
I don't understand. I-O?
Yeah.
That's basically it. Yeah. Yeah, they're just like Valkyrie cries.
Is that how they used to cry? Battle cries?
I mean, according to Wagner,
we're coming to kill you.
No, they're not coming. They're taking. They're heroes. The Valkyries.
They're female, right? The Valkyries.
Yeah.
They're all like.
I mean,
female
also
warriors.
Marvel did Valkyrie.
Yes, I know, but
it's the same thing.
They did. They were warriors. Like
they're
warriors.
Yeah, they'll kill. But they'll kill people. But they're supposed to be on the good side.
Yes.
Okay, what is the Valkyrie?
Oh.
So a Valkyrie. So Wagner did the Ring Cycle. It's 4 operas. Each opera is about 5 hours, and so it's a 20. And in Germany, once a year, they do all. Now, Mike, you're not so into opera.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not so into opera. This is gonna be. You're probably not going to hear much from me this episode.
You want to just take a napsies?
Yeah.
A little nappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wake me up at 5.
Wait a minute.
Just wake me up before you go.
Yeah. Wake me up
Before
before
I
you
go.
go. Don't leave me hanging on like a yo-yo.
This is what we do sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is what I see. Every opera thing is going to
Yeah.
bring back to a pop song.
It is. Yeah.
Yes. Then we can relate.
But there's an opera with 4 parts that are 5.5 hours long, and it's called The Ring.
It's the ring cycle.
The Ring Cycle.
So similar mythology of the Lord of the Rings.
I was going to say, is
Yes,
that
it's the same sort of idea.
But
that-
way before Lord of the Rings. 1954 is when it was first
Oh
published.
yeah,
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings.
So the Wagner
Flight-
ring cycle was made in like the 1800s.
yeah, exactly. It's got to predate.
Yeah. So, but on the same mythology. But it's 4 operas to tell that whole story. In Germany, once a year, they do a big festival where they do all 4 back to back. So it's a 20-hour opera experience.
That actually sounds to me quite amazing.
It's supposed to be very cool. I would love to go to it.
Yeah.
But
if you ever go to that, I will come with you.
Yeah?
I would
So let's-
love to.
I love Germany. I'm all over that. Let's
I
do
would
it.
love to experience something that's just so immersive.
Immersive, yeah.
I will immerse myself at the bar
Yeah.
somewhere
You
and
take
wait
a
for
little
you.
nappy.
I'm
Okay?
I'll sightsee
Yeah,
while
you
you
go to a
guys can
nice museum.
opera the shit out of that place.
And a good croissant. Germany has good
Yeah.
croissants.
Do they really?
They have such good croissants. I just feel
How?
like Europe has good croissants. Like, I don't know how it didn't translate to North America.
Yeah,
Anywhere. You go to a
they're
little
too
corner
bready
store
here.
and you're like, I'll get this croissant.
You know
You're
why?
like, holy crap, it's good.
It's because their
dough is
butter
better.
is better.
Yeah.
No, but the dough also.
And the
it's not just
gluten is better. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
dough.
Everything's better in Europe. It's because it's not factory farmed. It's not mass produced.
Do you think our podcast will sound better in Europe?
Yeah.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, unless
Okay.
we
If we had
send this
European
about the ring
accents.
cycle to Germany, and they might
Yeah.
be like, those guys don't.
They don't know.
Even the opera expert didn't really know what she was talking about.
No, you never know. You know what? Little listeners that are in Europe, you know what you can do? You can write in and you can tell us if we sound good in Europe. How can you do that, you ask?
You can do that in a couple of different ways. You can slide into our DMs on Instagram at The Little Podcast. That's
Or-
the LITTL podcast.
No, it's LIITL.
That's what I said. It's the LIITL podcast.
That's right.
Or-
email us
Yes.
at lifeisinthelyrics@gmail.com.
We do love a good email.
We do love a good email.
Yes,
Please
okay.
email. And
All
that's
right.
only if you're in Europe. Well, actually, you can email from anywhere.
Everybody should.
Yeah, but we want to hear from the Europeans. How
Yeah.
we sounding in Europe?
How are we sounding? Okay, let's focus, folks. Okay, let's go back to the beginnings here, Dana, because I've known Dana for, I don't know, about 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Every time you say Dana, I want to go, Dana, Dana, Bobana, Banana, Mana, Fofana, Me, Ma, Monena,
Or
Dana. You know that?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But also Cheers. Dana, 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 she drives me insane. No?
From
No,
Cheers?
I don't know that
No.
one.
When Woody Harrelson sits down at the piano and he has his girlfriend's name's Dana and he's just like,
God.
I'm going to sing a song for you. And he goes, Dana, 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 she drives me insane. No?
You got a reference?
Anyone?
I got nothing.
Okay, well then at least we
I'll
got
get
some
it.
cultural references there.
Yeah. Oh,
Welcome,
damn.
Dana.
I feel really out of it. But okay, so we've known each other for about 7 years, and I've known that you're an actor and a personal trainer and all that. But I've never asked how you got into opera.
Great question.
Yeah.
So I got hired as a clown in La Boheme at the Canadian Opera Company.
Okay.
And then I found it.
What did that involve, Dana?
So in Act 2 of La Boheme, there's about 9, it all takes place on the streets of Paris. And there's 90 people in the cast, which is amazing. So because it's turn of the last century Paris, the director wanted some street performer feels
Right.
to add to the French sort of feeling. So me and another clown got hired. And so we got to just do some juggling and we got to, during Musetta's Waltz, which is a very famous song that Musetta sings, we got to do, I was like sitting on a shoulder doing juggling. We totally stole it from her. The singer hated us. And even Toronto Star, like Richard Azunian was like, I'm not sure about those clowns. I made it into the review.
Nice.
Dana was like, yes,
And that was your
Toronto
first-
Star.
That was your first opera.
That was my first opera. I was like you. I didn't know anything about it. I was 30. Didn't know
Okay,
any,
so that was a long time
It was
ago.
a long
Oh, that's mean.
But that was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. And so then I met some people there. I saw an avenue for me to work in with opera and movement and acting and physical theater. There's a lot of physical theater in opera because sometimes the language is obviously in different languages. So people actually use their bodies in a weird way to express the story.
Right.
So what do you mean by weird ways?
Well, I guess not weird ways, but more than in traditional theater.
Okay.
Like they're actually, it's either melodramatic or slapstick. Like the operas are heightened.
Right.
So our physicality is heightened as well. And in general, a lot of opera singers, especially 15 years ago, did not have a lot of movement training. It's not taught. And so there was a real block there. So I thought, I could probably work with them. I wonder if there's an avenue in. Became friends with some good opera people and started out as a movement. You can edit that out, right?
Yeah.
You can burp, you can fart, you can do whatever you want in here.
No farting allowed.
Yeah.
Movement director. I started out as a movement director and then started assistant directing. And then I started getting offered directing jobs, which was really cool.
Oh, okay. So
Hold on a second. I just want to say that maybe we will get Dana afterwards to do a little movement directing with us, or at least me, if you're going to be a baby about it. And maybe we'll post a video of that.
I love it.
okay, I don't know if we're going to do that, but
I'm
okay.
going to do that.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was going to ask. Okay, so you got into opera because you auditioned for a part that was in an opera
As a clown.
as a clown, and then that piqued your interest, and then you got a job doing
assistant directing and doing some movement directing.
movement directing. That is
and then
so
assistant
cool.
directing, and then started getting hired as a director. Yeah,
So-
it's a small world. So once you become part of that world,
Wow.
and then
It's
it's pretty
insular
tight.
or
Yeah,
something? Okay.
really insular.
So what was that when you were clowning around on stage for La Boheme? Was that your introduction?
Totally. I'd never heard an opera before, but I really liked it. So I used to like hide in the wings during the warm-ups and just watch the guy playing Rodolfo. And I kind of had a crush on him, but I realized after it's just about his voice.
Right.
You know, I was like, because when you see an opera, it's such a vast space. So you're like, oh yeah, they have good voices. And because you've seen so much musical theater or concerts, you forget that when you go to a space with an opera, they're not mic'd.
Yeah.
So you don't quite realize the difference.
Right,
But when
right.
I was in the rehearsal studios with them, and you'd hear them just take up that space with their voice, like when it was sort of the first time I'd heard that, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like it is a whole other level than what anyone
Yeah.
else is doing. Like it's extraordinary.
And that's something that I was actually really interested in because I did look up opera and first of all, the meaning of the word opera. So Mike, this is going to be interesting to you because it was super interesting to me. Dana, I imagine that you...
And anything that's interesting to Priya is interesting to me.
I love
Well,
it.
yeah, because I'm sure that you know nothing about opera. So did you know that the word opera means work?
Oh.
Yes, both in the sense of the labor done and the result produced. The Italian word derives from the Latin word opera, a singular noun meaning work, and also the plural of the noun opus. Because we've all heard the word opus, but I did not actually make the connection that it was connected to opera.
Yeah, that makes sense. Work, I didn't know. That's cool.
Isn't that very cool?
Yeah.
And so I had wondered, and I wanted to ask you because I know that traditionally they don't use any amplifying tools.
Yeah.
And I wondered if nowadays they started to use like little lav mics or something, but they still don't, eh?
Not in any of the proper opera houses. When 2 years ago, I was directing at Laurier, and we had talked about actually putting lavs on a couple of the singers, because in some of the universities, when they don't have a proper theater space that's been built for that reason. For the acoustics. Then with a full orchestra, especially if the orchestra is not in a pit, which a lot of the universities are using like gymnasium spaces and whatnot, it's really hard to hear the singers. So that's why the pit was created too. So that's actually below so that the singers can amplify
So
better.
that their sound can go above.
Exactly.
Above them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
But Four Seasons Center in Toronto is one of the best acoustically in the world because
Really?
it's fairly new. So some of the older, more beautiful opera houses in Europe are incredible, but now with the technology that we know now, if you're building an opera house now, you can be even better acoustically.
They also do ballets at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, national ballets. So, okay, I want to go back a little bit though. How did you get into performance?
As an actor?
Yeah.
Oh, I was in it in high school, and then I went to George Brown Theatre School.
Oh,
and then after George Brown, I was having a really hard time with classical theater. No one seemed, it didn't click with me, but physical theater always did. Like, it was just something that I didn't even try. And once we had a physical theater workshop at George Brown, people were like, oh, there's Dana. Everyone, I just mask and slapstick and comedy and all that weird stuff made a lot of sense to me. So I fell a little bit more into that world after.
Oh, cool.
After theater school.
And so when Priya mentioned a little bit about you earlier, she said that you were also a personal trainer.
Yeah, yeah.
So all of the physical side of things really you gravitate to. And
Exactly. Yeah, I was a dancer and martial artist, tumbler, and then physical theater made a lot of sense for me. So I was doing some stunt work too. And then, I guess 15 years ago, I was like, okay, well, I need to find a better job to make money on the side. Because,
Right.
Performing arts is hard to make full-time living. So I decided to get my personal training. And that's really saved me.
How have those other non-theater related, endeavors, have they affected your work as in your directing and then also in your physical acting as well?
You mean like the personal training and the fitness classes?
Yeah.
I think so, in a way. I think the fitness classes have really helped me become a leader. Like, it's really easy now to just show up in front of a group without a fear in the world.
What do you teach?
Boot camp mainly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like a good high intensity.
Yeah.
Made a couple people barf here and there.
I have a fitness trainer and fitness instructor background.
Oh, do you?
I do.
Oh, yeah. That's
in my 20s.
Podcast in Toronto?
In my 20s, I lived in St. Catharines and I worked for the Y, and I was an aerobics instructor, or as my husband likes to call it, jazzercise.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't jazzercise. It wasn't jazzercise. I taught step aerobics.
But like Jane Fonda style.
Without the leg warmers. No, like, well,
But
step,
with the bodysuit, right?
No. I did have tight shorts on.
Oh.
But I can...
Like John Travolta in that Physical, that movie?
Exactly. Not as skinny, but just as gay. No, I'm kidding.
Just as
Sorry,
gay.
John. No, but I can relate to that, how that part probably... can how it connects to your performance side, because you do got to get up there and you've got to know what you're doing, and you've got to kind of think on your feet as you know your routine, you know what you're going to do, but then you also are responding to
what people are feeling. Do they need a rest? And you just get up and you can feel through it. And then once you do it long enough, you like walk in there, you're like, what am I doing today? Boom, boom. And taking control. It's really helped with taking control, I think. Controlling a room, right?
Yeah. That's great that you also have been able to find something else that you enjoy that is kind of related in parallel to the theater side.
The theater and the directing, because it's hard. It's hard to make enough money to have a contract as a freelancer, to have a contract back to back to back, that you never have to do anything else. So it's a nice side job. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, now you've directed other things as well. You've directed some short films, and have you directed any theater?
No.
Okay.
Film and opera. I can't break into theater.
So let's talk about the difference, because, and first of all, I'm fascinated by the fact that these singers fill up the whole space, and these are not small spaces. Like if you've been to the Four Seasons Theater or any opera theater, they're huge spaces. Like how do they? What is the training like? I don't know if you know what their training like is to be able to fill that room with their voice.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of breath work and way of singing. So they'll often say that most opera singers would say they can't do musical theater and opera because musical theater will destroy their voice. That belting sound and a pop sound can destroy, or obviously a rock voice as well, can destroy the voice. So that what they're doing is a very natural vibrato. And so it's a lot easier to protect your voice, and you have to use all of your breath work. But I mean, these opera singers, like I had a roommate, I did the young artist program at Vancouver Opera, and I was roommates with a singer. I mean, she worked. I mean, she sang nonstop. But like you work, we'd get up in the morning, we'd have our thing, and she'd work till 10 at night. You know, there's no like, okay, now it's
like
time
singing,
to
practicing singing,
the rhythms. You know, you're hearing her go through like 3 bars, the singing, all of the things. Like they work, and they have to do university programs, not only university, then they have to do masters, then they have to do young artists. The opera singers won't even be looked at by opera companies if they haven't gotten a master's in opera singing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not like you can just show
crack into it.
Yeah, you can't. You have to do all the steps, and then you should do young artist after that. And
Which I feel that makes it sort of unique, because you could crack into musicals probably without that kind of
you can crack,
training.
and obviously pop and rock and acting, you know, and even theater. Sometimes people don't even go to theater school, and somehow they end up in theater.
So while there's still hope for me to break into musicals and become a huge star that way, like opera is probably off the...
I mean, you'd have to go back to U of T. We're looking at about 6 years, 7 years.
Ooh.
I think
like...
I'm not even sure the other part's going to be a possibility for you.
Oh, wow.
Especially if we release that video we recorded last night.
I think you're wrong there. If people see the emotion with which I perform, I really put my all into that.
Yeah, but you're competing with me. You saw all my moves. I have a lot of moves.
I saw all your move. I saw all your move. Your one move that you kept doing through the whole thing while I was like making love to the microphone.
Okay, so Dana, maybe I am warming up to this idea of you doing some movement directing.
But okay,
Yes.
so do we get to see you guys or hear you guys singing with the music in the background? Because when I looked at it, it was just you singing, because I can't hear the music, so a little a cappella. And
It was a little a cappella because the music was playing through our microphones.
Yeah.
But is it recorded on the computer?
It actually is. So we might be able to do it.
So you
might
have
be
to
able
release it.
I could splice them together.
It was.
Okay. Anyways, it's not about us this episode.
Sorry,
it's
yes,
about
okay,
you.
Let's focus. Okay. I did have a question about the weight of opera singers. Now, traditionally,
Why?
because oftentimes, like the female opera singers, I don't know about the men actually, they tended to be quite larger.
I think it was considered when we talked about the breath work and being able to hold in a large voice. I think for a long time there was this myth idea that you needed to have all that body in order to be able to produce
Like
that
a
sound.
bigger rib cage for your lungs to expand.
But it's actually been proven as a myth, and so it's much more. You can put it in or
I'm
not.
trying to adjust the microphone so I can look at Dana and talk to her without losing the...
Okay, well, adjust your microphone.
I'm trying.
Get it all
when
set
I look
up.
at her, then... Okay, anyway.
Get it all set up. She does this. I'm adjusting my mic because it's on my collar.
Stop,
Come on,
sorry.
sweetie, you could do it.
Okay, but it's just in my way. Okay, here we go. Sorry, continue.
No, so I think that's it. So I think it's been sort of proven that it's a myth, and that singers don't have to do that. And it's much more today's day as those young artists come up. Movement and yoga and going to the gym and being fit is much more of an opera singer life than it. I think they're realizing the stamina. You know, when I was assistant directing at COC a couple years ago, Canadian Opera Company, I had to work with a singer who couldn't walk up a couple steps. Like, you know...
What do you mean? He got winded from walking up a couple of steps?
Also, the coordination of it, to go up 3 steps and be able to turn around and sing, the coordination, like, it was so complicated. And this person's voice was unbelievable. But there's so much time put into their singing voices. Like I was saying, it's like 12 hours a day. There's no time for acting, for movement, for understanding coordination, and I think they noticed it in the moment too. Of like, okay, yeah, there is. If you've mastered your voice now it's time to maybe look at
Performance.
Tie it into
or
your
even just
movements.
the coordination. That's hard.
Right.
That could be hard for you.
Well,
So
it's
how
hard
did
to like pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time, right? So it's like trying to do two things at once.
She wasn't singing at the time. We would never make someone go up some stairs backwards singing. So it was during a musical break, 3 stairs and turn. But so that kind of working. And so I think new directors are challenging their singers to be more active in their storytelling instead of the old park and bark, which is just stand and sing.
Park and bark.
Yeah, that's what we call it. So singers are also wanting that more. So they're a lot more fit coming up. They're a lot more movement.
So that's the evolution of opera.
I think so.
That we're seeing. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Who is that? Who's that Canadian? What's her name?
Misha Bergen.
Misha Bergen.
Yeah, I know her.
Yes.
Bergen Gossman, which I met in Banff, and she's amazing. Yeah.
Because she lost a lot of weight, didn't she?
I don't know, but I feel weird that we're talking about
No. Well, only because you asked about the weight piece, but she was like a huge star, or she is a huge star, and she was larger when she got that notoriety. Yeah. But then she did end up losing a lot of weight as well, and I don't think that
it didn't change
her voice. So that fits with what you're saying about how.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's also into TV writing and acting and creating her own work. And she's a super cool opera singer who wants to branch out to other stuff. But yeah.
So it is an interesting question though that you ask about the weight piece, because it is also like opera is a performance. And the expectation of how an actor is supposed to look, or what fits with that kind of expectation of what a performer or an artist or actor should look like, and then this relative evolution of like
breaking the mold.
Breaking the mold. And it's like, oh, okay, well, actually, that's a total shift. And for opera being such an old, again, I don't really know. I don't even know what I don't even know if my language is right, but it's such an older art form.
Yeah.
If the art form was built on these notions of large women and large men.
I think it was also what's been frustrating with opera for new generations to break in is that it loves its tradition and it's really stuck in it. And it's like, this is how we do it. This is how the singers look. This is, if you've given time, and I don't think it has as much to do with weight as like, if you've given time to acting class, or if you're going to the gym, then that's 2 hours you're losing a day and working on your voice.
Right. So you have to kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, that this should be your whole life. And so, and we all follow the same rules in opera.
Right.
And we all, it's very, and that's why it has stuck as a different genre than everything else. And it's considered theater. Like musical theater is actually just modern opera.
Right.
They're the same thing. It's the same as like classical theater and contemporary theater. It's like musical theater is only about 100 years old because it came out of opera is musical theater.
But it's
just in different language.
Or musical theater is opera.
Musical theater is opera. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But opera is completely sung. There's no spoken. Sung. And musical theater can sometimes have bits where the characters talk.
Well, I argue that because Magic Flute has tons of dialogue in it. Okay. Carmen also has dialogue. So actually a lot of operas do have dialogue. And musicals like Les Mis are all sung, and Rent, which is based on Bohème, are completely sung. So it's
Yes. So who was that Canadian? Oh God, what's his name? Rufus Wainwright.
Yeah.
Didn't he write an opera for
Adrian? Yeah.
Yeah, and it tanked, didn't it?
I liked it. I went to it. I thought it was cool.
But it wasn't well received, is my understanding.
I had a couple issues with it, the writing of it. But it wasn't well received, no.
And do you think that had something to do with the tradition component, because it didn't completely fit that mold?
A few things, yeah. I mean, I think it was lacking in its writing, which opera in general is. The libretto is pretty weak. But if you're going to write a modern opera, there's no real excuse for that. So I think people have problems with the writing. I also do think that the old school people that still go to opera. It's really hard to get a younger generation to opera. So the old school still expect certain things. So I liked what Rufus Wainwright was doing. He was pushing the mold and pushing ideas and telling history from a different point of view. And a lot of like their subscribers who, you know, it's
didn't
not
like it.
They didn't like that. They didn't want to go there.
Was
The
it a modern?
traditionalists.
The traditionalist.
What was the setting of his? Was it just too modern? You think?
Well, it's Hadrian, which is the Roman Empire.
Look at me. I'm nodding like I know.
I know.
I know, I'm a-
I
It's
don't know what
Hadrian.
that
Well, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the Roman Empire who was gay and had a lot of male lovers.
is. Okay.
And
Tell me more.
Tell
Mike
me
is
more.
Like, tell me more.
So it was really quite racy and kind of exciting. I think it dropped other pieces of history from the same time that this Roman Roman Emperor.
Yeah.
Jesus. Sorry. That did, which was not good. So it's sort of...
Did you just apologize for saying Jesus?
Well, yeah, and for saying Roman Empire instead of emperor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Jesus on the podcast. So we talk about the Romans.
Dana, it's fucking Jesus on this podcast.
That's right. That is correct.
Oh my god. Anyway, I think it pushed some boundaries and it looked at him in a new light. I thought it was really interesting. There was a couple libretto avenues that I was like, oh, that's...
What is libretto?
Oh, libretto is the book.
It's a pizzeria on Ossington.
Oh my God.
and Danforth. We've
And
been.
Danforth.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
we
the
were just
Danforth,
there
We were
yeah.
2
just
weeks
there.
ago.
She took me
Yeah.
there for my birthday. No, it's the book.
It's the book. Okay.
It's the script. It's the.
Oh.
It's,
So
yeah.
can you, now that we're talking about libretto and can you tell us a few of the different, the other parts of like what are the main components of an opera? I know in terms of songs, when I looked up, they have like, obviously the aria. I've heard of arias.
It's a
But then I
single,
heard that
yes.
there's the overture, aria, chorus, and ensemble.
Yeah. So overture is the opening that a musical theater would have as well,
Okay.
like an opening before
Number?
usually someone sings. Yeah, like where they might have just action on stage and the lights come up. Sometimes the orchestra plays in darkness, like you'll sit in a musical maybe,
Yeah.
and the orchestra will have. So that's the overture.
Okay.
And even in a script, sometimes there's kind of like that. What would be the word? Like a teaser. It's kind of a thing before you start the story.
Action. Okay.
Yeah. And then the aria is a solo song.
Okay.
Chorus is the chorus singing.
So is that like the background performers, sort of? Or
Yeah, it'd be like the Greek chorus, or a musical theater would have a lot of chorus numbers.
Right.
Chorus line.
Chorus line. They're
God.
all auditioning for the chorus. That one, it's
Yeah.
a goodie.
Yeah.
It's a goodie.
I'm really picking my
Mike's doing
my
the kicks
limited,
from a chorus line.
like, okay, chorus line. I know
Yes.
that one.
Yes.
Libretto. It's a pizzeria.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
Next, come on, fire at me. I got this.
Hit me.
I
What's
got
the
this.
ensemble? What's the ensemble?
The ensemble is everyone. So I
Okay.
guess maybe that means
It's like her velvet jumpsuit. That's an ensemble.
Oh my God, you're so
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna
Right.
just stop talking now.
Everyone, I
Keep
am
going.
wearing a
Zip
velvet
it.
jumpsuit, and I will
A
zip
black
it
velvet.
up.
Yep.
Which is also a song.
Black velvet
In
the
that little
midnight.
boys. That is so sad though. You know, she didn't make a penny off of that
I heard
album
that.
Why?
because she got a really bad contract. She got locked into that contract.
Alana Miles, we're talking
Lana
about.
Miles. That's why she never made any other music.
Really?
I
Yeah.
heard something about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened to a couple singers back
Yeah.
in the.
But anyways,
Okay, wait.
back to opera. So your question
Yes.
was all the components.
Yes. We asked about
Go.
No, we did the overture, aria, chorus, and ensemble. Okay, so the ensemble is everybody on
I
stage?
think so. That
Okay.
one I'm not really sure about.
Okay.
That makes
Now,
sense.
I was recently in Paris in March, and I went to visit the Paris Opera House.
Amazing.
Have you been?
Just on the outside. I didn't go to a show. Did you?
I didn't go to a show, but I did I
Tour?
did go inside and look, and it was just, it's quite magical going into a proper European
Yes.
opera house. Like the Canadian opera companies, the Four Seasons Center is beautiful. It's very modern.
It's very modern. It's not amazing like we went to the one in Munich recently. It was
It's not the same.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see these buildings that have been standing for hundreds of years, and just imagining the history of all the performers that have gone through there, and just how beautiful it is inside, like just the statues and the artwork, and it is. We'll have to post some photos of that opera house. It was magnificent, and I was really bummed that I couldn't see a performance there. I have always wanted to see an opera performance in Europe.
We saw Elektra in Munich. They had very side box seats.
All the box seats, yeah.
Yeah, which were beautiful. And we got a box seat, but I couldn't see half the stage. So that was a bit of a bummer. But when I was in Sydney, I went to the opera. I went to Pearl Fisher's in Sydney. And that, I know it's not European, but I mean, it's world famous. That opera house is insane.
Is it?
It is stunning. From the outside, obviously, and in the inside. Like there's like weight to the opera houses.
Let's go back to you talking about how opera has a hard time getting younger generations of people to be interested, because I find that really sad.
Me too.
And I know, like, I haven't gone to see a lot of opera, but part of that is because I actually don't like when they modernize opera too much. Like, if I'm going to go see an opera, I want to feel like I'm seeing something that has been performed for hundreds of years. Just like when I go to Shakespeare in the Park, it really makes me mad if they take Midsummer Night's Dream and transport it into 1960s or something. Just don't do that. Just show me Puck in the fucking wilderness in, like 1800s or 1700s, where William Shakespeare was imagining this happening.
I hear that. In general, I agree. I think I agree more with modernly written opera, because I feel with modernly written opera, they want to try really hard to not be musical theater. And then there's people that are on the line, like a Sondheim or something. But then it just sounds very atonal, which is not pretty. And that's where modern opera, because people are trying to keep this opera art form separate from musical theater. So now they're trying to do this atonal thing. And it's like, well, it's not pretty, which is why not a lot of new operas are very popular. But Joel Ivany, that I've worked for many times, who's an opera director, he's now the artistic director of Edmonton Opera, and he's brilliant, who brought me into opera. He is changing things. Like, he did Così fan tutti, which is a very famous Mozart opera, as a dating show in today's day, and translated into English.
Okay.
And it worked. Because Mozart's music is so incredible. And when it's in English, it feels a lot more relatable. And so it did work. And we watched it. He put it up in the CBC building, so it felt like a real recording of a dating show. So it can work. But I would prefer if they do the whole thing. He Anglicized it. He made it about Netflix and chill. He redid the lyrics. So it had a totally different vibe to it. And then it's fun because Mozart himself is so brilliant. Like, once you start listening to him, you're like, oh, I can see why he is a legend. Like, he's so brilliant. But when his music is always in a different language with badly written librettos, which a lot of those, like Magic Flute, and they're offensive. Like Don Giovanni is offensive. Marriage of Figaro, they're offensive in today's day. But
tell us why, because we don't know those stories, the plots.
They're like, Don Giovanni is, Don Juan. He's someone going around and sleeping with women and tossing them. And, it's like...
So it's the president of the United States.
Yeah, it's Trump. Yeah, and
did he grab some women by the pussies?
The music is insanely good, but you get tired of that story. And how many operas do you go to where you're like, the opera I just went to last week, you're like, oh, right, the man's in a jealous rage and murders the woman at the end. Right, just another And so I think part of the problem is modern audiences are tired of that narrative.
Yes.
Which I think is really fair.
And yet we continue to do it on TV series and movies all the time.
We do it all the time. And it gets frustrating. But I think, so what Joel was doing, which is really interesting, is like, hey, Mozart, no matter who you are, this music you should listen to this music, because he was writing notes like nobody else. Like, so if I modernize it and give it a little spin and make all of a sudden this idea, like Così fan tutti, the point of that opera are the two friends go, hey, let's dress up like each other and see, let's put disguises on and see if we can make our wives cheat on cheat on us with each other. Like, just like totally tricking the women to show, and così fan tutte means all the women do it. Like everyone does it. So basically proving that all women cheat. Like it's so offensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's hard to put that opera up today because it's like, but so what Joel's doing is trying to find an avenue that this beautiful music can still exist and be kind of. So if you make a ridiculous dating show out of it, and it's like part of the dating show,
Trying to make it relevant to today's
I think
audience.
so, because I think that's why younger audiences are like, I don't know. And Mozart is an acquired taste, so on first listen, especially in a different language, you're like, I just don't understand what's going on. It's so much. But,
I have a couple of comments about some of that there. So prior to us recording, we were talking, and you enlightened me on something that I think is very cool, and I want you to share with the listeners. But before we do that, I think one of the other things that, for me, I find, that gets in the way of my appeal to opera is opera, in my view, is considered a highbrow, an elite kind of musical taste.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up in an elite kind of experience. So there's this kind of residual thing. There's this baggage I have. And I know that's my baggage.
But I think it's a lot of people's baggage.
Yeah.
It continues to be elite. Yeah.
So I think there's an element there perhaps that is also contributing to it relating to, a broader audience.
Yeah.
Right? But when I think about opera, my earliest memories of opera are from Bugs Bunny,
Yeah.
right? Looney Tunes, because they were always Bugs Bunny with whoever it was that was writing those cartoons. They were always integrating opera into the cartoons. So there's sometimes when I hear some songs, I'm like, oh, that I remember that from watching cartoons as a kid.
Yes, totally.
Right? So there's this other piece where it's like, interesting that, 50 years ago, I was getting exposed to opera music through cartoons in a very entertaining way and relatable, quote unquote, because I was watching cartoon. But I didn't really know that this was this kind of music
Very
genre
famous,
that as I got older, I would perceive as being, an elitist kind of thing. So it's like, oh no, actually it is made for me too in my little blue collar life. And then the other piece, what I alluded to, there's a lot of, and we've already talked a little bit about it with the Four Rings.
The Ring Cycle, which
Ring
is
Cycle,
Bugs Bunny,
right?
the very famous song.
There's a lot of current, modern, you mentioned Rent, La Boheme.
Yeah.
And you've actually mentioned it a few times in this episode. What's the song that O Canada, our Canadian national anthem, starts with?
Oh yeah, it's the beginning of Act 2 of Magic Flute. Is like the first 5 notes of O Canada.
Let us play a little bit of that for you so you can hear
let's
how similar.
And that's when it changes.
And then it changes.
But it's still relatively similar, even in
like
that second bit.
5 notes, yeah.
There's probably all kinds of other references or evolutions.
Yes, totally. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's like Shakespeare. It's so influential, and also,
yet we don't recognize it.
Yes, and it's the same as like most movie scores are operatic, right? So when I was assistant directing Carmen, my director would always talk at the end about the Jaws theme. And it's very similar. But when you Google it, they say that he did not, John Williams, that's the name, that he did not steal from the Carmen. But the end of the opera, when Jose comes back to Carmen's house, right before she says, it's you, and he says, it's me, and he's going to kill her. Spoiler alert, the man gets in a jealous rage and kills her. The music is the Dread theme, which is ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then he shows up in her house, and she's like, it's you.
Right.
Not his house. Sorry, I don't remember where.
But he shows up somewhere and he kills her.
He shows up and she's like, "It's you," and he's like, "Me." But that music, that Dread theme, is exactly what it sounds very similar to the Jaws theme, which is danger's coming, right? Na 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 na. So I think that that's really cool because you can't. think of that as anything else but danger is coming. Like it just warns you of that.
Oh yeah, like I remember all those. Remember all the cop shows on TV and like Batman and Robin and like they use that as like a mood, instigator or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the Canada, like the top of the act too, is Sarastros, who's the emperor entering, right? So it's very regal, which is sort of O Canada as well. Like they're still used for the same themes. And then Ride of the Valkyrie, which is one of the most famous opera songs ever written.
How does it go?
It's the Bugs Bunny, Catch the Bun. If you hear, I should get it out for you.
Just sing us a few bars?
Just hum a bit?
It's all... I'm going to get Bugs Bunny Ride of the Valkyries.
Okay.
I'm trying.
I know you're trying.
Is that also the one that was in Apocalypse Now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Kill the Rabbit. Remember?
Dun,
Oh yeah.
dun, da, 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 da.
But yeah, that's it. And now Apocalypse Now, a very famous scene when they're in the helicopters and they're dropping all the bombs. They have that really famous
Right.
Ride of the Valkyries as well playing. So it's all over the place.
It
and
is,
L'amour, which I played for you when I was giving you the lyrics in English, and I'm like, no, you for sure know this song. And I play, and it's like, oh yeah, of course.
Yes.
The Carmen love song,
Now, because the podcast is obviously called Life is in the Lyrics, are there any lyrics that specifically speak to you from operas? Keeping in mind that generally speaking, the operas are not in English, so the English translation might not be quite as poetic. But what are some that have stood out to you?
I mean, I do love L'amour from Carmen, which is about love. And it's very much about her type of love and that obsession love, which I really like. So you think you're holding him, he's avoiding you. You think you're avoiding him, he's holding you. Love is bohemian child. He never knew a law. If you do not love me, I love you. If I love you, beware. And I kind of like that, if you're not going to love me, I'm going to love you. And if I do love you, beware, which is the danger, because there's a lot of danger in Carmen. And I think that this is really relatable. If you're holding him, he's avoiding you. And if they're avoiding you, I'm holding, that's
Isn't it always the way?
Is always the way. And I think Carmen sings a lot about freedom and not being controlled. And she wants to love when you don't give her. This is why men are obsessed with Carmen, which is always kind of strange. But she wants to love you if you don't love her. And she doesn't want you to obsess over her. She wants to be free. Right. And she wants to chase, and
But she doesn't want to be chased.
Right.
Yeah.
So she wants to chase.
If you give her too much love, she's gone.
She's gone.
And it was written by a man, and it was obviously this obsession of this type of woman. But Carmen really was revolutionary because she was so free. She wanted to live a life of freedom. Right to the end, and when she leaves Jose, and that makes him, because she just moves on to another man, and she had another man before him, and she wanted to be free, and then of course,
how does it end?
She dies. He kills her.
He kills her in a jealous rage.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
And is this music from Carmen too? Da 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 da.
Yeah, that's L'amour. Yeah.
Okay,
that's the song I just.
Oh,
that I just.
Did she just play that?
Well, no, I just did the lyrics.
She referenced it.
Okay.
The lyrics. That's L'amour.
Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Da da da. Right.
Yeah.
See, I think some of these are in our consciousness, but we don't go to see opera, so we don't connect it.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go on
Yeah.
forever. But yeah, it's a very famous. Have you heard of that one, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know more opera than you think you do.
I probably do. It's just I'm very insecure about my knowledge.
So
So,
let me ask you, Mike, because Don, your husband, has season tickets to the opera.
Yes.
And you have never gone with him.
I have gone, I think maybe once or twice.
Okay.
What have you seen?
I have no idea. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Because now, was that because you felt like it was just sort of beyond your appreciation, your scope of appreciation, like you wouldn't be able to appreciate it?
Probably a little bit like that. Like I would think that if I went more often, you know, like when you repeat something over and over, you become
it's
familiar.
acquired and
yeah, you acquire that taste. So yeah, I think that if I did go, I probably would. But
So after this conversation, and obviously the answer can still be no, would you be more interested or inclined to try out an opera, kind of having a little bit of...
yeah, because I will say that one of the things that I'm getting out of this episode is reminding me that opera actually is part of the fabric already of my musical interests or exposure or, you know, experience already.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, I think what we need to remember, even when we look at like pop or rock, actually rock is very close to opera. I've not met a conductor, a musical conductor for opera who's not really into rock and roll. Like they're actually quite close. And
How? Because that does not make any
because
sense to me.
the drama
Right.
and
Meatloaf.
Yeah,
Yes.
Meatloaf.
Oh my
is-
God,
think of
I mean,
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf
So
is
Yeah.
an opera singer. Yeah, he was trained as an opera. And yeah, his voice is extraordinary.
Bonnie, not Bonnie Raitt.
Do
Anything for love.
And Jim Steinberg, who wrote all those songs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Gosh, she's amazing. Did you see Bat Out of Hell, the musical? It's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
So
And what else? I was going to say, what was it? Total Eclipse of the Heart?
yes,
That's
Built
very-
also Jim Steinberg.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote all of those. Celine Dion, Meatloaf. He wrote all
Yes,
those
Celine
songs.
Dion. Yeah,
If you look
absolutely.
him up as a songwriter, you're like, oh, they all make sense. They're all so dramatic.
Right.
But if we think about at the turn of like in the 1800s, that opera was just the popular music, especially in Europe.
Right, yeah.
That it's the same as when people talk about Shakespeare. Well, that was the entertainment of the time.
Right. It was the Taylor Swift or
Yes,
the whatever.
exactly. Mozart
Yeah.
was the Taylor Swift. Like
Yeah.
he was the
He was
legend.
the guy. He was the guy,
So
the man.
So it all relates to that, no matter what kind of. Have you seen Sinners?
Not
Have
yet. I'm dying to see that.
There's
No.
a scene in there which is I don't even know if I
a
should
new
talk
movie.
about it.
Oh, Sinner?
About vampires in the South.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about the scene because I don't want to ruin
Okay,
it for
don't
you.
ruin it for me.
Okay, it's just
No
very
spoilers.
cool. It's sort of exploring this idea of everything comes from something else
Okay. So
in
if
the
you had
evolution.
I'm going to see that movie next weekend.
Okay,
I
let's
think
talk.
actually.
What did you just say? Sorry.
The evolution. Yeah.
So if you had to, like, if somebody were to ask you, like maybe a 25-year-old kid who's interested in just the arts and was like, I just don't think opera is for me, what would you say to them to maybe help them appreciate it or maybe encourage them to attend?
I would say, well, just take a moment, maybe do a quick reading of it first, and then go in accepting the extravagance of it and allow yourself to be taken for the whole ride. Like, I think musical theater tries to run the line of overdramatic and naturalistic sometimes, which is how it comes off as a little cheesy.
Right.
But to just come out in opera and just go, allow yourself to be taken in. And if you get bored of what's happening on stage for a sec, watch the orchestra. They're incredible, you know? Take yourself down there, close your eyes and just listen to it. There's always surtitles. And don't, and if you're worried about the length, because I think that's one thing, is that we're not used to very long things anymore, very long pieces of entertainment. And then, choose to, some operas are 90 minutes. Find a shorter one. Give it a chance. Yeah.
I remember, and I wonder if you remember, in the movie Philadelphia with Tom Hanks and Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Do you remember, and if you guys, if our little listeners have not seen that movie, that is an extraordinarily beautiful movie. But in that movie, there's a scene where Tom Hanks plays as he's really kind of succumbing to his illness, he plays his favorite opera as Denzel Washington, who's kind of like this hotshot lawyer who's not really cool with the whole gay thing, but he wants to take this case on to make his career. And through the course of the film, you just see how he starts to
understand.
Just to understand that this is just a human being who has a partner that is as equally supportive and worthy of love and everything. But this moment where Denzel watches Tom Hanks listening to this aria is so moving.
I need to go back and watch that.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's a very powerful scene.
So long ago.
Yeah.
It's just he's so broken in terms of his body is really giving away, and he's at the end of his battle, I think, with AIDS, but he's listening to this music, and it's so uplifting for him. It's so beautiful. That might be a place for people to kind of start an appreciation for opera, because it is so melodramatic. And I don't know a lot about opera, but I think it's magical as an art form, just how melodramatic it is. It's all about emotion.
Yeah, and I think the music, some of those original composers of Mozart and Bizet, Wagner, all these, they were incredible. Puccini wrote Bohème. Like, they are brilliant. They're brilliant minds with notes, and the amount of complexity is quite something. But we're not used to it, so it's like takes us a moment. It's like a liver pate. Takes a moment to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we approach the near end of this episode, I want to ask you: is there anything that you like more professionally now that you're deeper into opera as assistant director and director, and you started out with acting and obviously singing? Do you? Is there?
We've yet to experience that.
We'll be outroing with your.
Oh God.
Yeah. What do you prefer more, or what gives you? How would you talk about like what you enjoy and what you get out of each of those kind of sides, the performance side and the behind the scenes side?
I mean, I like acting. Acting is so fun. Being on stage or being even on set is so fun, but you are also not part of the larger picture of a project. You are just a piece of it. And so what's fun with directing is to see the entire picture, whether it's for a film or for an opera, all the elements, you know. I mean, opera is so exciting, like the production, the themes, the set, how you want to tell this. It challenges a lot more different aspects of you than acting. And so as you get older, you're kind of, acting's great, especially when you're on set, which I love being an actor on set, but you're not really much at all about the product, you know, unless you're really, you know, the number one, the lead. You really don't have much to do with the whole thing. So it comes out a year later, and you're like, oh, there I am. But to be part of from beginning to end and that whole creation is really thrilling as an artist. You really feel like you've put something together.
Great.
Yeah.
That's my thinking. Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to just say that for those of the people out there who think opera is such a old art form, it's not relevant, might be interesting for you to know that Taylor Swift's maternal grandmother, Marjorie, who she wrote a song about, was an award-winning coloratura soprano. And she inspired Swift to pursue a musical career. And then also, some experts have equated her Eras tour, which was 3.5 hours of her performing, to be sort of similar to the performance of an opera, because normally...
Oh, I haven't heard that one.
Yeah. I just looked that up right now. I was like, is Taylor Swift into opera? Let's bring this back to the people.
Yeah.
Deep and instant research. There we go.
Yes,
It is.
exactly.
It's everywhere. It's like Shakespeare. When you start talking about Shakespeare,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
He's everywhere. You don't even realize it. And he's inspired so many stories. And opera has inspired so many musicians.
Yeah, see, the answer to your question, Priya, I would think that's if I was somebody who knew something more, like knew more about opera, that's what I would say. I would say to young people, did you see Lord of the Rings? Did you like the movie Rent, or did you ever see Rent as a theater? Did you, I would try and make those sorts of connections to modern interpretations of opera. And so if you like them, then you actually do like opera. You actually do have a connection to opera or an affinity for opera. An analogy would be reading your family tree or something like that. Like getting, like, what's the history that helps me understand who I am today?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
What's up for you next?
I just finished directing at Ottawa University. I directed Cendrillon, a French version of Cinderella, and a new opera, Alice in Wonderland. And there is a opera short that I directed for the stage last year that we're turning into a short film.
Oh,
Speaking
cool.
of trying to find a way to make it more accessible to a
younger
generation, newer audience.
Yeah.
So it's 12 minutes, modernized, not atonal at all. The music's stunning, thriller with a twist at the end where we don't think the woman has any power, and at the end she has all the power. I'm really excited about it. So we have the money already for the recording, for the professional recording. We've gotten half our funding. So we're recording that in September in BC, and then we're hoping to film it either the end of August, but it has to be filmed in the woods. So if we don't get enough funding by then, I mean, not end of August, I meant end of October. If we don't get enough funding by then we'll film it next April. So it's a long journey,
cool.
but it's going to be fun. It's a two-hander.
Yeah.
It's really dark. The music is stunning.
What's it called?
It's called The Laurels, and it's a Daphne Apollo myth sort of flipped, and it explores another thing that I really am interested in now, which is, again, I guess we were talking about Carmen, like a female freedom. Anatomy of the Fall. Did either of you see that last year? This idea of this woman sort of being trapped in a marriage. We don't know whether or not she murdered him or not. They don't say, but this idea of women being free and at what cost. Yeah, and so it kind of explores this woman who wants to take a different avenue in her life. So it'll be fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
So say I wanted to go to festival. I wanted to go to some horror festivals.
Great.
Can't wait
That's
to
it.
see that.
Well, what do you think?
I think it's time to call it and have some dinner. Finish
Okay.
that bottle of wine.
Dana, thank you very much for being on the little podcast.
Thank you.
Life is in the
Love it.
Lyrics.
Thanks for coming all the way out here to Tara.
Oh
to
my
do
gosh.
this.
Thank you.
It's
so
been
great.
such a joy. I've learned so much.
Yeah, me too. And I much more open to the idea of going and exploring this opera connection. So
Love it. I'm so thrilled.
all right, well,
Thank you.
thanks to the listeners for being with us this week, and we will see you next Wednesday.
That's right. Well, we won't see you, but you'll listen to us.
That's true.
You'll
Yeah.
hear us. Thanks, everyone. Thanks
All
for
right.
listening. Go ahead and see some opera.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.